What's up, nerds? Welcome to Cool Nerd Show. I'm Steve Trezza.
I'm Joe G.
And we are here with our review for Doctor Strange.
Yay!
That's right. It's we're gonna give it a little spoiler-free kaleidoscope.
Oh, do it.
Yeah. This is the symbol for kaleidoscope.
Yeah, so you're gonna make it happen now?
No, I could maybe. I don't know. That's too many effects.
We're not doing it.
So anyway, we'll give our spoiler-free for a little bit, and then we'll talk about spoilers. Talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and then grade it. And then maybe talk about some predictions. Yeah. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
So, spoiler-free, what did you think about the Doctor Strange movie?
I actually enjoyed it a lot,
okay.
Except for some of the parts where you could obviously tell where the reshoots, and I felt that really just took away from some scenes and then added a whole scene that I didn't think needed to happen at all. And then there were just some characters that were a little bit different, not in a terrible way, but just in a way where I'm like, I get where they're going with this, but I'd rather see this happen anyway. Yeah.
Overall, I thought that the movie was good. I thought that they hit the character, hit the nail on the head. And the origin story, the way they did different dimensions, I thought was really well done. But I thought that they forced a lot of jokes.
They did. Because
a lot.
Doctor Strange is not necessarily a funny hero, but there is humor in that movie where you feel it's not forced, and you're like, okay, that's good. And then you get to some punch, and you're like,
The jokes that land, great. But the jokes that don't land, just
awful.
like you can tell, you're like, ugh, that didn't need to be there. Why was that there?
Yeah.
That was my main gripe with it. And then we had another one-off villain. But they did set up other villains.
Yes.
And we'll get into that.
They set up the future.
So overall, I thought that the movie was good. I'm happy with it. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So. But those are just some gripes. So anyway, right now we're going to start getting into the spoilers. So if you don't want to know about spoilers, you haven't seen it yet, click away. Click away now.
You can
Ready?
You'll hit a click and it'll go to our review, like score.
And we warned you. Okay. So let's start. What did you like overall about the movie?
Someone got beheaded right in the fucking beginning. It was like, true. What are you? I'm a librarian. I'm like, oh, this doesn't bode well for my future occupation in my real life, but they just went off and beheaded the guy. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a little more violent than other Marvel movies, I guess.
And it did have that dark tone for a little bit. And then they lightened it up with the forced jokes.
Yeah.
But, which seemed a little weird.
Like, we'll get into that when we get to what we don't like.
I thought the movie was, as I already said in the spoiler-free section, that I thought that they executed it really well. I thought the end, when he defeats Dormammu, I thought that was a very good use of the time loop. Mm-hmm. For the time stone, because a lot of times it's like, how are they going to make that happen?
Yeah,
and they did it very well. I didn't mind Dormammu. I thought it was cool that he was in it, but he should have his head should have been on fire,
and he shouldn't have been that gigantic. Like, he is big, but he can shrink down to human size if he really wanted to, and it would have been a cool fight.
Maybe in the future he'll shrink down to.
I kind of want him to.
Size.
I wanted to have his cool cape and his flaming head.
But overall, what else I liked about it? I thought the action was good, and it was different. It was very different from other
because you had your astral form fights, you had your regular magic fights, you saw worlds and dimensions collapsing in on themselves, people going to and fro. It's like if people were fighting in those old cartoons where people are running up the stairs, but then the stairs are going this way and they end up here. Yeah. It's pretty much like that, and I thought that was cool.
And it's also, the dimensions look like those pictures, I forget what the name of them are, but the abstract pictures that don't make sense, that you can't make in real life, because it's the stairs are going down, and you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What I'm talking about? MC Escher. There we go. Thank you, Scott. Off camera. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
And the acting was good. The visuals were fantastic. If this doesn't win the Oscar for best special effects, that I don't know what could even come close to beating it
this year. That's visually stunning.
I mean, you might have.
Unless Inception comes back.
Civil War? But even that, it doesn't have anything.
No, they didn't. The dark dimension, the dark dimension was just really cool, and I love that whole scene at the end.
It looked similar to the comics too.
Yeah, it did, which I appreciated. There were some things that I didn't appreciate.
All right, so now, what did you not like?
This thing.
Oh wait! Before we get into that, I have one more thing that I liked, but I'll talk about it in the
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Because it kind of transitions with.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, no. This the magic carpet from Aladdin. I don't remember that being in Doctor Strange, and yet here it is.
The cape didn't need to be sentient.
It didn't need to be sentient. It didn't need to wipe away his tears when we were actually in an emotional scene that was making people feel shit and realizing stuff. about the character. It didn't need to tie up a guy's head around it and keep comically hitting him into the wall. It didn't need him to stop from running to the axe to then like point him to the direction of the binding thing. It didn't need to do any of that. It just needed to be a cloak
that
that
helps
levitates.
him. Yeah, that makes him fly. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I didn't hate it, but I was like, could have been a lot worse. They could have treated it like a dog.
Like the real magic carpet. I mean,
Like
it's
they
not,
could have talked. He could have talked to it, and it could have like shook its head.
I mean, he kind of did talk to it. No, he did.
Not like that though.
No, not like that, but he did talk to it.
So could have been way worse than that. Now Caecilius, he's obviously for a one-off villain. Whatever. He wasn't.
There you go.
He was a one-off villain, but. And, we don't like one-off villains, really. And Marvel has it everywhere. But they did set up Mordo to be a good villain. And I know you're going to talk about that.
I will.
And I'll let you talk about that. But hold on. You have Mordo and you have Dormammu. So now you're setting up two villains for future Marvel properties.
Yep.
So I liked that about it because this is the thing that I was going to talk about that I liked. Because Marvel always does these one-off villains. And they're just here and then they just die. So now, you have Mordo's backstory. You kind of a little sentimental
sympathetic
towards him.
It's
Sympathetic towards him. And yeah. So that I did like. But I know you didn't like Mordo
I didn't like it
that.
Because Mordo is, I know it's stupid, and we need more depth to our villains, and I understand, but Mordo is pretty much, even in the newer iterations, he's just pure evil. Mm-hmm. He's in it for the power. He doesn't do it because he saw the woman that he idolized see her use the power from the dark dimension. It's not because he's broken. It's because he's using the power from the dark dimension. He wants to have all the power in the universe. He wants to be the ruler of everything. Mm-hmm. And in this one, it's more like he's just a man who's broken and doesn't know what to do anymore, and that's why he becomes a bad guy. But he doesn't see himself as the bad guy, whereas Mordo even knows in the comics, I'm a fucking evil, son of a bitch. Mordo in this is I'm justified in what I'm doing.
So yeah, and I can understand that. Because when I was watching, I was they kind of flipped Mordo's character around completely.
And even with stuff that they said about him, it's Mordo is the more rigid one and you're the more free thinker. I'm that is completely bullshit, because Mordo should be the more free thinker and Doctor Strange should be the more rigid one because of who he is, but I don't know.
But that didn't bother me too much, because they always change some stuff.
But let's go to the score and how it was non-existent throughout the movie, in my opinion.
So, all right, if you were to grade it, you mean the score?
The musical score.
The musical score.
The musical score.
You know what? I can't even.
Yeah, right.
I don't even.
It's I was watching the movie and I'm so what's gonna be that one theme that I hear? Nothing. Got it. Thank you.
I don't think that's necessarily bad though.
No, because it just was more about the effects, really, the visual effects than anything.
And it was something completely new for Marvel. I mean, granted, the story it was an origin story, but it was just kind of like how Guardians was something new. This was something new. It was different dimensions. It's the way he defeated Dormammu was new. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
And outside of the cape and the forced jokes, which are freaking everywhere in this.
When he's crying and broken because now the ancient one won't teach him, and the door opens and he falls, and he's
and not only does it open, but it opens with the apartment building buzz, and the door opens
and he falls through, and he was crying because he was so upset. He's thank you. I'm
yeah, some of the jokes were just way too forced, and it was obvious that they threw them in there. Could have done without them. If they didn't have them in there, it would have brought the movie up a lot more.
No, my score would be higher right now.
Yeah, mine too. So let's grade it. Score 1 to 10. What are you going to give Doctor Strange?
7.
I think that's a little low, but
I think it's fair.
I always coming out of whatever movie I see, unless it's absolutely awful.
You got the movie hype.
You get the movie high. You come out and you're that was great. And then after a day of waiting, you're you kind of come back down and you collect your thoughts about it and you think about it a little more. And I also have to take a step back because I do love me some Marvel. I also have to kind of take a step back and be okay, if this wasn't a Marvel movie, how would I feel about it? Because it's a Marvel movie, I always put it up on this pedestal. But
this is definitely one of the better movies Marvel has done. I will say that. Yeah. Definitely up there for me.
It's not in the top 5. It's in the top 10.
I think for me,
I mean, they have 16 now.
They have 16. I think for me personally, it's in my top 5. At least that. But yeah, no, I like it a lot.
You only gave it a 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other 4 movies have a higher score than a 7, and the other ones don't have a higher score than a 7.
I'm gonna give it an 8.2. I was toying with like 8.8 and
Why isn't it just 8.195726543?
I don't know.
We're gonna make it that now.
We're gonna do the math. I don't
Do
know,
the math
I don't
on
know
that one.
exactly how much. It's gonna be in the 7s because you rated a 7 and I graded an 8.2.
Yeah.
So here's the number. That's our grade for Doctor Strange. It was definitely good. It was different. A little bit of forced jokes. But tell us what you guys thought in the comments below of the movie, if you liked it, what you didn't like, and everything else. So, with that, I'm Steve.
I'm Joe.
And we'll see you guys in all of our other segments. Like, favorite, subscribe.
Please.